God's peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you. How are things today? We are coming with a terrible, heavy caliber episode. But before we get into the clip, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and write in the comments. What do you think of the story and your absence from the clip? In fact, by giving wives for free, whether you are a beggar or a farmer, as long as you are a man, you can have a wife. And I got 100 at once. My name is Lita. I was just a company slave. I was exploited and drained by the work schedule. $9.96 working overtime until late every night did not bring me promotions or raises. Rather, it was the most intimate betrayal. My brother, whom I trusted, was sleeping with my wife, and the saddest thing was that the child was his. At that moment, I completely collapsed, standing on the edge of the roof. I thought it was all over, but as I was about to jump dig, the ancient boarding system was successfully connected. Immediately after that, I was told that I could travel freely to ancient times. The system even gave me storage space. Free portable in 3 days. This system will take the host back to ancient times. Please prepare supplies within 3 days. The system will save 100,000 Critio coins as purchase money and give the host unlimited storage space. Unlimited storage. Portable storage with unlimited space. Stored items are not affected by time. After 3 days, they will transport me back to ancient times and will give me unlimited storage space. I thought I was dreaming. Just at that moment, my phone rang and it buzzed. 100,000 yuan. That's right. I reached 100 yuan. I was so excited that I almost jumped. Could it be that I have awakened a system like the protagonist in a novel, and the life of cheat codes began? While I was thinking about the so-called infinite warehouse, my consciousness was suddenly pulled into a huge empty space. The system's voice sounded again. The host can store any item in this warehouse using time consciousness. It still stands inside the warehouse. The food will not spoil, and will not the metal rusts, and the items can be used immediately upon request. Wow, this is amazing. The system even gave me 3 days to prepare. I can stuff as much stuff as I want into the warehouse during those 3 days. In a moment of inspiration, I thought, what if I brought the Alfie and traveled through time? Wouldn't I be able to sweep away ancient times with one fell swoop? Life as I am now has lost its meaning to me, so I better seize this opportunity to live a life free of worries in ancient times. I was about to leave the rooftop when I suddenly heard a noise behind me. Apparently the security guard had made up his mind and pounced on me. When I turned around, he missed his target and fell straight down the building. I was startled and grabbed his wrist at the speed of a ton. He was on the edge of the roof of the 18th floor, and I could only hold him with my hand. I am afraid of heights. The man looked down and his legs became weak. After a few seconds, he closed his eyes and fainted. Fear, the veins in my arms swelled and my body trembled violently, and I held on tight. Buddy, stop messing around. I really can't pull you up. Why are you interfering? If I'm going to jump. A crowd of people had already gathered downstairs, and the sounds of shouts and shouts were rising and falling. At that moment, a group of firefighters and journalists rushed to the roof, panting, "Help me!" I screamed, and several firefighters immediately rushed over and stopped the security guard, and before I could catch, I'm out of breath. One of the reporters put a microphone in my face. "Your hero is at the risk of your life to save others." Very touching. May I ask what belief motivated you to carry out the rescue? I was stunned for half a second. If a hero goes away, go away. Go away. I don't have time for you. I waved my hand casually. Give me 50,000 yuan for the interview. When I heard it was about money, I immediately returned and maintained a calm expression and even adopted a tone. This announcer is a traditional virtue of the Chinese nation, and it is a testimony to the careful guidance of the party and the Central Committee. As soon as the heat subsided, I quickly and discreetly slipped through the crowd. If the security guard wakes up, I will definitely be exposed. I am home. I am a programmer. My salary is not bad. 3,000 yuan a month. This house was purchased with a loan that I just repaid. It is worth 3 million yuan. After the divorce, my ex-wife filed a lawsuit against me. She demanded 1.5 to 5 million yuan in cash, or I will transfer the house to her. I will pluck your chicken feathers. I have withdrawn the ownership certificate and intend to sell the house at a low price. Let her kill me if she wants. I have returned to the old time. Why am I afraid of her? I quickly listed the house online, and it was originally priced at 3 million. I would like to list it for 1.5 million. After I listed my house, I was not going to sit idle. I was going to get loans online with job and education. And at home, the loan limits on the various platforms are very high. For the first time, I opened a platform of 460 loans and applied for the maximum limit of 200 FOM. Then I filled out the personal information, step by step, my place of work, property ownership, car ownership, and finally facial recognition. My credit score has always been excellent, and the money arrived in my Laba account within minutes of sending it. 2 letters were received. My heart skipped a beat. I received 200 renminbi from the online loan, in addition to 100,000 renminbi from the system, 500 renminbi from the correspondent, and 15,000 renminbi from my own savings. Now I have 500,000 renminbi in my hand, but this is not enough. I want to go back to ancient times and become a king. I want to raise a whole army. Building an army requires money, food, iron, equipment, and weapons, so I need to get more loans. After that, I tried all the online lending platforms that Loan Progress. I approached everything, including doubting and gold bullion from gap.com and the loan products of Medic Company. Received 300,000 yuan for Bit. Received 100,000 yuan for it. In half a day, I was able to obtain 1.5 to 5 million yuan in online loans. In addition to the original 500,000 yuan, I now have a full 2 million yuan. After exhausting all online loan platforms I signed, I looked at the furniture that filled the room. I opened Zenio, a used market app, took pictures and posted links. A sofa was bought for more than 10,000 yuan and sold for 3,000. An 85-bed TV was bought for 1,500 yuan and was sold for 2. A double-door refrigerator was bought for 20,000 yuan and was sold for 5. I have listed almost everything I can sell on Zenio, a used goods market app with prices very low and only one condition: local pickup only. If I were to use express delivery, 3 days would not be enough. Since I am selling the house, it is normal for me to get rid of the car as well. My car is a Vajmoden Arc, which cost me 200,000 yuan when I bought it. Anyway, I am about to travel through time, so I will not need this type of sedan anymore. I will just sell it. I went downstairs to get the vehicle registration certificate and drove it to the used car market as soon as I arrived. The car dealer's eyes lit up when he saw my well-maintained Magotan car, and he came right away. "Boss, are you selling your car?" I opened my window and said, "How much can I get for this Volkswagen car?" "This is 10. The original paint and insurance are comprehensive." The car dealer took out his phone, calculated the price, and checked the paint with his tool. Finally, He told me 100,000 for sale. I pasted the vehicle registration certificate on the hood of the car. Transfer ownership now. My quick reaction surprised the car dealer. He shook his head, wondering if he had exaggerated the price or if there was something wrong with the car. After all, most customers who had come to sell their cars before had visited 3 or 5 dealerships and bargained over the years. This was the first time he had met someone as articulate as me. He was still a little uncomfortable. He opened the hood and inspected the engine compartment inside and out. Only after making sure that everything was fine did he take me to complete the ownership transfer. The door payment was received. 100 oops, my account balance officially became 2.1 million days. After selling the car, I randomly checked out a shared bike and headed towards the only somewhat irregular loan company in this city. There are many legitimate loan companies in this city, but the most distinguished company, Walcon Financial Service Cisco Altitude, is the only one that interests me. The so-called company is actually just a 2-story building. I parked my car in front of us. I entered, and there was a good number of young men standing on the first floor. Some of them had 2 tattoos, a tiger, and others had brightly dyed hair. These people were debt collectors who specialized in violent debt collection methods. "Boss, you are looking for a loan." As soon as I entered the lobby, I was greeted by a blonde-haired man with a cigarette hanging from his lips. I said, "Yes, I am looking for him." "He is looking for our boss. He is busy. I will handle your work." The blonde-haired man curled his lip and began. "With aversion, you can't do that. I want a loan of 1 million. In the past, I usually avoided thugs like these, but things are different now. In 3 days, I will travel to ancient times. What am I afraid of?" I also took a smug look and faced him with 1 million. "Then come with me upstairs." The blonde-haired man looked me up and down before finally deciding to take me upstairs. The office on the second floor was filled with smoke, and the boss, Uchienji, was playing cards with 2 of his brothers. As soon as we entered, Angmo brother Ching shouted, "Someone wants a loan." Ching stared at me and laughed. "Oh, Lita, what are you doing here?" Ho Chi is from the same village I live in. He used to bully me when we were children. He was the bully in the village. At school, he was the bully in school, and he used to bully a lot of people, but after he entered society, he did really well. He had connections and influence and could earn several $100s a month. "Ho Chi, lent me some money." I didn't celebrate, and I sat in his boss's chair. I grabbed a bottle of Super 95 from his office and lit it. "This is the job. Is this work for the 2 people?" Besides me, I also knew them. One of them was named Jian He, and the other was named Wan Tian, and he was from the same hometown. "Lita, are you out of your mind? How dare you call him Huxia?" Wan Tian stood up angrily and pointed his finger at a nose. "The agent is always right," and shouted. "Don't you understand? Today I will not just call him Huxia, I will call him Xiuxia," I said arrogantly, completely unafraid of trouble. Wan Tian was so angry after I confronted him that he stuttered, saying, You. What do you mean by?" I looked at him and said, "We have always been the rudest person ever since we were young. You can't speak without using obscenities." Wan Tian was stunned for a moment, and his feelings definitely flared up. "Damn your mother, you brat, you son of a bitch. Your mouth is really terrible." He paused for a long time without saying anything and finally managed to utter 2 words. Shimer Wangshan and Jiang He brought him up by their sleeves, ready to start working, but then, "Sober, wait a minute and stop them. Do you want to borrow 1 million? What is the matter? Are you in trouble? Chianel stared at me. I shook my head. Nothing. I just want to start a business. Do you want to lend me money? She was telling the truth. I really wanted to start a business, but the site will not be in the modern era. Rather, it will be in ancient times. The reason I went to Aun is because he knows me, and I was sure that he would lend me money. Of course, we do this kind of business, but the interest rate is a bit high. The interest rate is not a problem. I responded with an offer of 20% million, which must be paid back within 3 months. Can you lend it? Qian asked initially, or he died in my head. Well, Qian burst into laughter immediately. Haha, shouting. Pour your brother some tea. Wantia immediately hurried to pick up the teapot to pour the tea, but he looked away at him, saying to his father. After a short while, she signed the contract and took nude pictures and went out happily from that small building, and I have 1 million yuan in my pocket in the office. She all looked at the loan contract with a disapproving expression. Brother, isn't lending $1 million so easy? A bit hasty. Wantia asked in a low voice, rubbing his butt. Qing lit a cigarette and answered slowly. What do you know? This child has a job, a degree, and a house. If he can pay for it, then forget it. If he cannot, then this house is worth 3 million. This is true. I will sell the 3 million house for 1.5 million now, but there is only one condition. The money must be in an account. One day my house was already overrun with real estate agents. There was no way around it. The house was very cheap, and there was no shortage of buyers. Your brother, I can transfer the money now to my owner of this house. We will sign the contract immediately before I can finish. Recently, the salesperson raised his hand and pressed in front of me. Okay, I will sign it with you now. I impatiently agreed before I could put pen to paper. I rushed to another salesperson. Our company can also pay immediately, and we offer more. 1.66 million sold a house to me. I was stunned for a moment. They can even raise the prices. 10,000 yuan is still money. I immediately decided to sell to the salesperson who offered the highest price. 1.6 million and 600,000. I will sell it to you. I was about to sign when another salesperson jumped in. We will offer 1.7 million. We will offer 1.88 million. We will offer 2 million. I never expected that these dozens of salespeople would start bidding immediately to seize the house. There is no way around that. My house is worth 3 million, but I am selling it now for only 1.5 million. It is very cheap. Even if the amount reaches 2 million, I will have no difficulty in selling it, and after the price rose to 2 million, they did not bother anyone else in the room. Submitting a higher offer, I took a quick look at the decor of the room and its furniture and said with a thought in my mind, I do not want the furniture or appliances. Who can offer 2.1 million? I will sign the contract with him now. As soon as I said that, the eyes of the bidder representative lit up. After all, my house was well renovated, the furniture was environmentally friendly, and all the appliances were of the best brands. Adding the 100,000 will not be very expensive. In addition to that, it is being sold. Well-furnished used apartments, faster 2,001,000. I will transfer the money now. I want this house, the sales representative shouted impatiently and raised his hand. So we started the deal immediately. I signed the contract first, and he quickly transferred the money to me. I originally had 150,000 yuan from savings plus 50,000 yuan from the TV interview, which made it 200,000 yuan. The system rewarded me with an amount 100,000 yuan for a total of 300,000 yuan. Adding the 1.7 million yuan that I borrowed from online loans, the result is 2 million yuan. I called for another car and got 100,000, bringing the total amount to 2.1 million. Then, there is the high-interest loan from Okaran, which totals $3.1 million. I have now sold a house for another $2.1 million. So in total, I have $5.22 million. To be honest, I have never laid down this much money in my life, and now all this money has turned into warm numbers on my phone, over 5 million, and this should be enough to buy a lot of supplies. Right. However, since the system warehouse is very large, the more money the better. So how can I get the money? And suddenly the idea came to my mind: borrow money. I would feel very embarrassed to borrow from others, but there is one person I will not feel guilty towards him at all. This is my good brother who stole my wife, John, too. I took out my phone and called him. The call was connected quickly. Ching Tu. Come to my house downstairs. Let's meet. After saying that, I hung up the phone and went downstairs to wait for him. After 12 minutes had passed, I stopped in front of a black Mercedes-Benz. A man and a woman came out. The man, who was wearing a black coat and sunglasses, looked a little embarrassed when he saw me. It was my brother. Good, 'tis on just now. And the woman, of course, was my ex-wife, Jiangli. What do you want from us? Jiangli asked coldly and crossed his arms. Even though she had cheated on her husband, it had to be admitted that she was really beautiful. She was 1.7 meters tall and weighed less than 100 kilograms. She had a slender figure, delicate features, and light, radiant skin. A definite 7/10 beauty. She was a minor celebrity on the internet and had more than 100,000 followers online. She broadcast for an hour every day. The men in her chat room were showering her with compliments. Over time, she began to think that I wasn't good enough for her. Then she cheated on me. I said, Arab Dia, as I lit a cigarette. I want to talk about property division. Jingli and Zhangtu looked somewhat surprised. I have refused to discuss this matter since our divorce. After working hard for many years and finally saving from, yes, a family, only to discover that you have been betrayed. The child is not even yours, and you will make your ex-wife take a share of your assets. No one can bear that. Finally, face reality. Well, tell me after that, Jingli said, nodding in my head. In fact, I do not have many assets. I only have a house and a car, and together they are only 3.2 million. How about this? I do not want the house and the car. Give me 1.66 million, and we will divide it by 50. Jiangli and Qintao's eyes lit up when they heard that. They were worried that the division of the spoils would be a mess because they were the ones at fault. They were hoping to get a 30-70 split, but I unexpectedly proposed a 50-50 split. For Qiantao, it was a house worth 3 million yuan and a car worth 200,000 yuan for 1.6 million yuan. Incredibly good deal, Lita. Are you sure? Zhangtu asked me. I'm sure, I said, but Zhangtu still needs to lend another 400,000 yuan, making the total amount 2 million. I don't have much money. Zhangtu shook his head, wanting to back down. Don't rush to refuse. I looked at him and said slowly, Zhangtu, I remember all the mess I made when I was a kid. If you don't want to, before I could finish speaking, he covered the chin in my mouth with his hand. Quickly, don't say anything. I'll lend him. We grew up together, and I knew all about his shady dealings. I was too shy to talk about it, But now that I'm going to ancient times in 3 days, why should I care? I need to get the money first. Since we've reached an agreement, let's go to the notary's office to authenticate it. You can also write a dead document, and that will be the end of it, okay? Shall we go now or he dies? Let's go. So the three of us headed to the clerk's office. Justice, and we started the formalities, and after a short while another 2 million appeared in my account. I also signed a yo-yo as required. To be honest, you will certainly not be able to give back a receipt for this payment at most. I can burn it for you. Now I have a total of 7.22 million. The car returned to the building where I live. Ganta couldn't wait to get out of the car and said excitedly, "Dear, let's go upstairs and have a look at the house." After all that was going on, happy because he bought a house worth 3 million for 1.55 million. Jianli's expression remained indifferent. She looked at me and asked me, "Do you want us to come together?" I smiled and said, "I won't go up. After all, it's not my house anymore." Jianli nodded, took his arm, and entered the elevator. I stood on the lower floor and looked at the category I bought on loan. A slight smile appeared on my lips. 800,000 advance payment for the category. You're like a pig with a green onion stuck in its nose. Are you trying to act like an elephant? I'll show you. I'll let you sleep with my wife. She visited and pointed to the Mercedes class car. With that, I waved my hand and loudly. The car disappeared into the air. Yes, I put it in my personal storage room. After doing all that, I looked around to make sure no one was watching me. Then I immediately started running. It wasn't long after that. Xingta and Jiangli came running from the top floor, panting. Wait. 1 minute, Lita. Why was the lock changed? Where is my car? When I heard his screaming screams, I could almost imagine that Shinto's heart was beating as he frantically pulled out his phone to call me. The result, of course, was that the number I dialed was not available at the moment. I had already gone away. The house in the city had been sold. Next was the old house in the village. I took a taxi and returned to my hometown from the city. My hometown is Denoya Village, which is located in a small county town. It is a typical urban village with amenities. The surrounding comfort is fairly good, and with a hospital, school, and a newly opened shopping mall, the village has naturally attracted many tenants. Many people had wanted to buy the old house before, but I thought, what if the village would be demolished one day? So I did not sell it, but now it seems that time travel is just around the corner, and there is no need to keep this house anymore. When I returned to my hometown, I saw the old dilapidated house, which filled me with mixed feelings. My parents passed away a few years ago. The house has been empty of residents for a long time. I took out my phone and called the village head, Huling Uncle Hu. Are you there? Come to my house. I want to talk to you about something. After a short while, an old man arrived on an electric motorcycle. He was over 60 years old and the former village head of our village. He took care of me since I was a child, knowing my family's difficult circumstances. He was always the first to apply for village subsidies. For me, I have always been very grateful to Uncle Hu, so I didn't plan to keep the house much and I intended to sell it to him at a low price. Lita, are you back? I quickly helped him sit on the steps next to the door. Uncle, my house is still idle anyway. I would like to sell it to you. Would you like it? What did he sell to me? A lot of money. Wali Mal panicked as soon as he heard that in recent years, land prices in the village have risen dramatically, and the house can be easily sold for millions. I patted him on the shoulder. Uncle, I will sell it to you only for 800,000. Leiden, is there something wrong? If you are having difficulties, tell me. I don't want this house, but I can lend you the money. Hearing this warmed my heart. Uncle Who is a really nice person. I shook my head. Uncle Who? I really haven't had any problems. It's just that I won't live here anymore. I will sell this house to you. Would you like it? Who thought to come down for a while, and nodded in agreement. Okay, 800,000 is not really that expensive. If you really want to sell, I will buy it. If you want to buy it back, one day I will sell it to you at the original price. He thought I was embarrassed to ask for money, so I used selling the house as an excuse. He did not know that the house would be demolished soon and I would be able to get 8 apartments worth several million. Uncle Ho. Let's go do the paperwork. I led him to complete the paperwork. He was an honest man. He transferred 800,000 yuan directly to my account. At this point, I had collected a total of 8 million yuan from savings. It was getting dark, and I had almost exhausted all the legal ways I could think of to raise money. Of course, there were other options I had not thought of, such as borrowing money from friends or relatives, and then going back to old times so as not to fly to pay it off, or accidentally buying a car off the street and selling it to a pawn shop. But I couldn't bring myself to leave. So, I checked into a hotel in preparation for my spending plan for the next day. The next morning I checked out of the hotel and feeling refreshed, I headed straight to the city. The first thing I did was rent a storage room. Although I had a mobile storage room, if I bought things on the street and put them away right away, I was afraid that I would be treated like a bloody pig and be dissected. So I needed a buffer zone. After that, I took a taxi to Wanda Plaza, the most luxurious shopping center in the city. 8 million, I needed to plan how to spend it properly. I said. For myself, when I decided to go to the supermarket first. Supermarket supplies are very practical, and portable storage keeps them fresh, so no matter how much stock you stock up, it won't spoil. It's great value for money. I went straight into the supermarket without paying attention to the shopping cart, but instead stopped the sales staff. From now on you will follow me, and take a pen and paper, and write down everything I say. The little girl blinked, and did not quite understand. Sir, you can push the cart yourself. Maybe? I thought I was a country person who had never seen the world before. I casually said, I need too many things. One cart is not enough. She finally came to her senses, grabbed a pen and paper, and followed me obediently. I went first to the grain section. I took a quick look at the mountain of rice in front of me. How many bags of rice are there? How much does it cost? The saleswoman answered. The weight of each bag is 40 china, 20 kilograms, and its price is 50 yuan. There are 200 bags here in 000. Another one in the warehouse or my head died. I'll take them all. Here I was astonished. 1,100 bags, with a total of 6,000 yuan and 48,000 jin. 44,000 kilograms of rice. I'll buy it all myself. Take your pen and paper. I'll need more. I stepped forward with my hands behind my back and experienced for the first time what it means to spend money like water, and felt incredibly satisfied. How much do smoke and flour cost? Millet is 3 yuan per pound, and flour is 2 yuan per pound. So give me 50,000 pounds of millet, and 50,000 pounds of flour as well. Her eyes widened, and she could no longer stand up straight. These are goods worth 250,000 days. Even restaurants wouldn't dare to order that much. Boss, you're not kidding me, right? Her voice was trembling a little. She smiled and took out my phone to show her my balance. Tell me, do I look like a person wiping? She leaned closer to look and kept repeating 10,000. My brother. My father. 8 million. Nearly 150 pounds of grain seems like a lot, but I know in my heart that an adult man needs at least 1 gin a day. If it is used to feed an army of 500 people, it will be used in 300 days. Of course, if it is cooked into porridge, it could last a little longer, but I had no intention of using this batch of grains to feed the army. I could not bear it. These grains were all for private consumption. She took me to see the fresh produce section. I put my hands behind my back. The sales clerk followed me immediately. Her demeanor was completely obedient. This supermarket is the only large supermarket in Wanda Blues, and it is also the largest in the city. The vegetable section is very large and the variety is complete. Lobster, potatoes, lettuce, daisy wreath, romaine lettuce, whatever you want. It contains on everything, and it almost made my eyes dizzy. I was too lazy to pick and choose, so I waved my hand and said, I'll take the full name of the vegetable today. I want all of these anyway, a portable storage room to keep things fresh, so I'm not afraid of them spoiling no matter how long they're stored. It's better to buy them all at once and take them back to ancient times to eat them slowly. The sales clerk's eyes almost popped out of his head, and his voice trembled a little. Sir, are you sure our supermarket contains 50 gene 25,000 kilograms of vegetables including our stock? I looked at him, and my tone was a bit displeased. Are you doubting my finances? No, I won't pay. After that I went to the spices section, where in ancient times there were many different types of spices, so this section had to be fully stocked. Salt, sage, sugar, light soy sauce, dark soy, oyster sauce, cooking wine, vinegar, soy sauce, Sichuan pepper, dried hot pepper, dried tangerine peel, star anise. I want as many of these spices and seasonings as possible. I waved my hand again and simply bought the entire spice section. Well, the entire spice section is mine. The sales clerk's hands trembled. Sir, our supermarket has a lot of spices in stock. If you take everything, it will cost you at least 300,000 yuan. I told you I'm not short of money, I said with my hands behind my back, and strutted to the imam with an air of arrogance. Then reached the meat section. I did not look at this part much. Pigs, cows, and sheep were not rare even in ancient times, and they are not worth storing in my warehouse now. Then I stormed into the snack section. In my opinion, the greatest fast food of the modern era is instant noodles. They are not greasy, convenient, and can be used as military rations. How many boxes of instant noodles do you have here? How much does a box cost? The sales clerk checked his phone. There are about 5,000 boxes. The price of each box? A box of about 40 yuan. I immediately waved my hand. I will take them all. He was already a little numb. He quickly wrote down what I ordered in his notebook. Then I looked at the snacks next to me. There were no good things like potato chips and spicy chips in the old days, so I had to buy more. I will take all the snacks in these rows in addition to the stock. I pointed to the shelf and waved my hand. The sales clerk hesitated for a moment and then reminded me, saying, Boss, in the supermarket we have a lot of the snacks are in stock. If you want to buy them all, it will cost you at least 800,000. I smiled and didn't care at all. It's 800,000. He remembered that. Rough calculations show that I've already spent more than $1 million, and I still have more than 6 million left. To be honest, this is the first time I've been worried about how to spend the money. The food has been taken care of. Should I buy some drinks? Tap water was around in ancient times, so buying them would be a waste. Let's buy drinks next. Beer and spirits, no less. These drinks did not exist in ancient times. If you just presented the emperor with a bottle, he might be so happy that he would slap his throne. What is the total amount of beer, spirits, and drinks you drink? How much does it cost? I'll take them all. The sales clerk took a peek at the stock again. We have beer in 2 cases, 31 and 51, with 24 cans. In each case, the total stock is 5,000 cases at 41 cases per case. It will cost 200,000. We have more drinks in stock. Buying them all will cost 500,000. We have smaller quantities of alcoholic drinks, but the unit price is higher. Buying all of them will cost 300,000. That's about $1 million in total. Upon hearing that, I issued an order immediately. I will take them all, and since I didn't earn this money myself, I don't feel bad about it. Absolutely, thanks to the supplies I have now. Even if I went back to ancient times and did nothing but lie down, I could live a comfortable life. After that, I moved to the food section, and in addition to the food items, they also had compressed biscuits. These were treasures with a long shelf life, very filling and small in size. On a long march, carrying these 2 items would allow me to catch the enemy unawares without needing logistical support. So without hesitation, I spent 200,000. Another, that's all, so I went directly to the cashier to pay. The cashier spent a long time calculating before finally arriving at the total of about 2.9696 million. This noise immediately caught the attention of the supermarket owner. When the manager heard that I had placed an order worth approximately 3 million, he felt overjoyed. He simply waved his hand and rounded it off to 2.900 million. I readily agreed, paid immediately, left the delivery address, and left. After this round of spending, I still have $1 million. Food and drink are taken care of. Now it's time to get some clothes. I know that in ancient times, a cotton-lined coat was a treasure. Many ordinary people may only have one in their entire life, or even none at all. So buy some summer clothes casually, but focus on winter coats and jackets. It's summer now, so buying coats is out of season and cheaper. I immediately went to the largest clothing supermarket is in Juan de Ploys. The prices were not high, and they were sold in bulk, so it was a lot of shoppers. I did not care about the brand names. Tate, Nike, and Adidas were not practically known in ancient times. All I wanted was 2 things: the flow. When I entered the store, I went directly to the sales employee and asked him, "Where is your store manager? I have a big matter to discuss with him." As soon as I entered, the sales employee looked at me and said with an unfriendly look, "We do not need any sales presentations here." "Thank you." She smiled and answered quietly, "I'm not here to sell. I'm here to buy clothes, and I'm buying a lot." She stopped for a moment, and her expression immediately changed and said politely, "Sir, please wait a moment." After a short while, I called the store manager. The store manager was in her 30s, very elegant, and wearing a wedding ring on her ring finger, so she was probably married. She looked at me up and down and then asked me with a smile, "Boss, are you the one who wants to talk to me about business?" I nodded and stated my goal directly. "I want to buy lots and lots of clothes. Give me the wholesale price. We all aim for small profits and quick turnover, and the retail price is almost the wholesale price, boss." How many pieces do you plan to buy? She raised one finger and raised her eyebrows. 100 pieces is a very small number. I can't really bring myself to come up with that price. I shook my head and smiled. I continued to guess 1,000 pieces. Then I can round it up for you. I remained silent. I simply shook my head. This time it's become a novelty. 10,000 pieces. You're a big customer. I can give you a 20% discount. When I saw her, she immediately became excited. I added, I need winter clothes, cotton-lined jackets, and coats. She paused for a moment, then smiled happily. Oh, you should have said that earlier. 60% discount. How about that? Buying winter clothes in the summer usually means there is unsold stock. It is difficult to sell all kinds of items anyway, and you can only get rid of the stock slowly in the winter. Now that I want 10,000 pieces at once, this gives her a windfall. She quoted the price. The price of cotton-lined linens was in the original price was 100 yuan, but after a 60% discount, its price became 60 yuan. The price of quilted jackets was originally 200 yuan, but after a 60% discount, its price became 120 yuan. 5,000 cotton-lined jackets, in addition to 5,000 quilted jackets, for a total of 900,000 yuan. Will you pay by card or cash? She smiled brightly. Extremely, with her eyes almost closed, she took out my phone. I was going to scan the code. Without hesitation, I scanned and transferred 900,000 yuan. Now I have 4.2 million yuan left in my balance. I have already spent nearly half of the 8 million on these cotton-lined coats and jackets. I specifically told her to choose very long overcoats of the kind that can be worn as coats, so that she can keep the upper part of her body warm while protecting the lower part. From her body also, after I left the address, I left the clothing store, and after I arrange my clothes, I will then need to buy some books. There is no internet in ancient times, so you can't search on Baidu or browse TikTok when you have problems. This is where books come in handy. I went to the library. And the first book I looked for was The Barefoot Doctor. In ancient times, medical care was primitive, and having such a medical book could save lives and even heal them. And when I found it, I got 100 copies, so if I didn't need it myself, I could use it to train a group of doctors. After that came the Militia Manual, which is a book that specifically talks about how to manage soldiers. With this book, you can transform morale into fighting power. There was also a dual-use military and civilian book that talked about organizing construction and production in the Production and Construction Authority. I also got 100 copies. More importantly, there are 100,000 reasons. This book covers everything, and in ancient times it could be considered an encyclopedia. You can almost just browse it when you have a problem, and I also got 100 copies. In addition, I also selected 300 poems, the 4 major classic novels, and some novels. 10 poems can be used to appear scholarly. Scholars were revered in ancient times. Novels were for entertainment, as there were no short videos at that time. I picked up more than 1,000 books at once and spent another 200,000 books. At checkout, I left my address and left the library. Now there are 4 million left in my account. After finishing the books, it is time to prepare my weapons. I cannot buy firearms. Weapons are prohibited in Greater Shia, and even if I applied to travel abroad, there would not be enough time. So I can only choose melee weapons from among the melee weapons. The compound bow is definitely one of the most powerful weapons. But besides the compound bow, there is another very powerful modern weapon. The drone? Everyone knows how powerful drones are in an arena. The battlefield today is cheap, numerous, and difficult to defend. It flies quickly and is difficult to detect, and even if it is discovered, it is not easy to shoot it down. All you have to do is attach a bomb to one of them and attack it, and it can kill or maim. The most important factor is its low cost. Some cost only a few hundred yuan, while others are considered expensive by a few thousand. Compared to artillery shells, which cost tens or hundreds of thousands of yuan per round, drones without ridiculously cheap pilot. If you go back to ancient times, even though there are no bombs to kill, drones can provide intelligence, and that would be their most valuable asset. For example, if you lead troops to attack a city, but don't know how many troops are inside, the drone can take off and provide a clear view. Or if an army of something walks into a valley and is not sure if there is an ambush, the drone can take off and provide a clear view. Obviously, if you add thermal imaging and night vision equipment, you will know exactly how many people are hiding in the forest at night. The value of intelligence is simply explosive, so I have to develop drones. Fortunately, there was a DG store in the mall. I walked right in. "Hello, sir. What can I do for you?" I asked him frankly, "Do you have any drones equipped with thermal imaging?" The sales representative probably did not expect me to ask about this specific model of the machine. After all, this type of equipment is generally used by rescue teams and not ordinary people. Thermal imaging can image the temperature. As long as there is a body temperature, it can be seen on the screen. Even at night, no warm place could be hidden. In ancient times, this could have been a strategic marvel. He came out of his astonishment and quickly said, "Yes, sir, we have the latest model of buggy at a price. 25,000 yuan per set. Do you need one?" I told him how many sets you have. He said, "There is not a lot of demand for this model. We only have 10 sets in our store." "I will take them all," I answered without hesitation. I had bought 10 thermal imaging drones at once and spent a total of 25,000 yuan. When the salesman saw the spending, he immediately became excited and asked me with a bright smile, "Sir, is there anything else you need?" The drones do not depend on turrets. The cells so they can work well even in ancient times, but then a problem arises. How can you charge them? I casually asked, "Do you have any power banks here?" Preferably using 2 kilowatt hours. 2 kilowatts of electricity is enough for many things these days. Using it to charge a drone is exaggerated. "Sir, the price of a 2 kilowatt hour portable power bank is 5,000 yuan per unit. How many units do you want to buy?" 20. Please remember to fully charge them before handing them over. I plan to put all of these power supplies in my portable storage compartment. Since time is frozen inside, they will not consume any power when fully charged and will come out fully charged. Ideal backup resources for emergencies. 20 power supplies equals 40 kilowatt hours of electricity, which I will use as a long-term reserve. "Okay, sir, that's a total of 350,000. How would you like to pay?" I immediately took out my phone and transferred 3,500 in one swipe. I took a quick look at my balance. I still had 3,700 left. After leaving the DJ store, I headed straight to the largest sporting goods store in the mall. This store had everything from basketball and badminton balls to different compound bows. Yes, I came here specifically for the compound bows. As soon as I entered, a collection caught my eye. Impressive shelves, and the store owner greeted me warmly, "Boss, I want a set of good compound bows, the kind that has a long range and high strength." Compound bows are not FXEC-controlled items, so you can buy them freely. This is considered a legal purchase, Upon hearing that, the store owner led me to the compound bow section and took one from the shelf and handed it to me. This is the best compound bow that is made locally and can be exported abroad. The maximum draw weight is 80 pounds, and it weighs about 4 kilograms, and it is made entirely of aluminum. It cost 3,500 yuan. I weighed the bow in my hand. I felt comfortable. Can I try to shoot the arrow? Of course, we have a shooting range. I will take you there. He led me through the sports area. He was followed by a shop assistant carrying arrows and protective equipment. Finally, we entered the indoor shooting range. The shop owner helped me put on the arm guards and pointed to the pulleys on the side of the bow arm, explaining, "Look at these 2 sets of pulleys." Traditional bows require a lot of tension, which becomes increasingly cumbersome and unstable. Compound bows enter a less intense phase after they are drawn to 2/3 of their full length. Even at 80 degrees, they only require 2 hinges, which makes them very stable. Or my head died. I held the non-slip handle with my left hand and pulled the string with my right hand. As he said, it was difficult to draw at first, but as soon as the reel started rotating, the tension immediately eased and I was able to draw the bow easily. I fixed a point. The target point was 50 meters away through the metal scope. Then I released it, and with a wow sound, the arrow pierced the air and hit the center of the target point. Its jump was still trembling. It was amazing. I screamed when I was using the traditional bow. The arrow started to drift for a distance of more than 30 meters. Hitting the target point at a height of 50 meters depended on luck. With this compound bow and its scope, the carbon arrows fly straight and steady. It is definitely a different level. I examined the structure of the bow carefully. The aluminum looks really good. It is light but strong. It was difficult to take care of my old traditional bow made of mulberry wood and ox horn because it was exposed to moisture in rainy weather. And it cracks in the cold winter. This bow is easy to make and use. I picked up another arrow and adjusted the draw length handle casually. Traditional bows have a fixed draw length, which is not convenient for use, but compound bows can be adjusted from 26 inches to 30 inches, which makes them suitable for people of different heights. I pulled the bow again, this time slowly and deliberately, and felt the pull carefully. The path of the traditional bow is a bow, and any slight shake in the hand will lead to a deviation from the path. However, the compound bow has a straight line of power, and with a non-slip grip the stability is simply off the charts. The second arrow fell hard next to the first arrow, and was also in the shape of a bullseye, and even tore a small piece of the target paper. I put the bow down. My decision was already made. The strongest bows of antiquity had no draw weight of more than 60 pounds and a range of 40 meters at most. Accuracy was entirely dependent on experience, but this is a compound bow with high weight and accuracy. Stable and easy to maintain, it was practically an essential tool for time travel. For me, boss, I am very satisfied with this bow. How much does it cost? This is 1,600 yuan plus 2 strings and a maintenance kit for my head. But considering that I was buying in bulk, I decided to try to negotiate and get a lower price. I buy a lot. Can you give me a discount? The shopkeeper laughed at how much you want. Most people are lucky to buy 1 or 2 if you want. 10, I can give you 1,500. I also laughed and answered, it is enough. I want 2,000. What? The man's eyes widened in disbelief. 2,000. This is 3,200,000. Where did he get so much stock? You're not kidding, are you? I looked at him and said, Do you think someone like me is joking? Give me your lowest price. The store owner hesitated for a moment, then gritted his teeth and said, 1,300 pieces. Any less than that, I would really lose money, but I only have 200 or 300 in stock, not 2,000. I felt a little disappointed, but he continued saying, however, I can help you with the stock and get the goods. I can find other stores in the city to get $1,000 or so. No problem. 1,000 or so, whatever you want. I will give you a delivery address before tomorrow night. If you are late, I will not pay the balance. After I said that, I gave him the address of the rented warehouse and transferred his deposit of 300,000 yuan immediately. One bao 1,300 bows, with a total of 1,300,000. As for arrows, the shop owner was generous and gave me 20,000 for free. I felt that that was not enough, so I bought another 100,000 and I spent 500,000 total expenses 1,800,000. My only idea was worth it at this point. I still had $1.95 million in my pocket. This money is going to burn very quickly. I need to find a way to generate some income quickly. I scratched my head and counted the balance in my account, and it was just over 2 million. I was really afraid that it wouldn't be enough, and suddenly I remembered a Mercedes-Benz G-Class in my storage room. It was a new car that Gunta had just bought with a loan starting from 3 million. He betrayed me that time, so I did not back down and took his car. There is no point in keeping this car in the warehouse. It is better to sell it. I found a secluded place and took the Mercedes G-Class out of the warehouse. The keys were already stolen from the basement, so the car started immediately by pressing the remote control. I happen to know a suspicious person specializes in buying luxury cars of questionable origin. He either sells them as mortgaged vehicles or dismantles them to sell the parts. I drove my G-Class car south along an abandoned national highway in the suburbs until I reached a small gravel road at the end of the road. There was a tin shed with a sign on it that said on Studer. The roof of the shed was rusty, and there were several old abandoned cars parked in the yard. The air was filled with the smell of motor oil and dust, and it was clear that this was not a legitimate business. With a squeal, the revolving door opened with a crack, and from outside appeared a man with buzzing pieces and a thick gold chain around his neck. It was the old man Black, whom I knew well. His eyes lit up the moment he saw Jawak's car. Then he looked around quickly and whispered, "Drive quickly, don't block the road." I returned to the courtyard and quickly closed the door. Then he took out a flashlight and began to go around the car, tapping on the paint. As he inspected the interior, he clicked his tongue in amazement. It looked like a brand new class car with only a few hundred kilometers on it, as if it had come directly from the Chantu dealership, right? You are ruthless. You have already done this. I leaned against the car door, too lazy to waste words. It doesn't matter who it is. Just set the price. I need the money urgently, so stop slowing down. The old man turned off his flashlight and sat cross-legged near the tire and smoked, the smoke slowly rising. This car does not have any papers, and it cannot be disassembled or sold except in someone else's name, which is risky. I can only give you 900,000 at most. There is no profit in anything more than that. 900,000. Are you stealing from me? I frowned and patted the roof of the car. Look at the condition of the car. The original paint has not been touched, and the engine is still warm. Would you give me 90 for a car worth 3 million? At least 101 then. The amount was 1 penny less. I would find someone else. A tiger from the east of the city was talking to me about this matter yesterday. He flicked the ash from his cigarette and looked at it, and realized that I was not bluffing. These days, competition for buying stolen cars is intense. Having an outrageously new car like this is really rare. If he left it, he would probably regret it. He remained silent for a few seconds, then took a drag on his cigarette, then said, "Okay, $1 million. This is the most I can do." With the calculations in my head, even though it wasn't as good as I expected, I was in dire need of money now. No matter how good a plane was, it couldn't compare to real money. Or an agreement died in my head. "How do I pay?" "Come with me." He led me home. He lifted the bedboard and took out a black backpack from the bottom. He opened it to reveal a bag full of money, 500,000 in cash. "The rest will be transferred to you via WeChat." I counted money to make sure it was real. Then I scanned the QR code he delivered. When I saw the successful transfer notification on my phone, I finally felt relief. I spent $3,500 on drones and power banks, and another $1.8 million on compound bows and arrows, which left me with $1.95 million. Now with the extra $1 million, the total is $2.9595 million, which should have been enough to buy the bows and arrows when I left the workshop. Rapport was in a great mood. No wonder so many people get involved in these shady businesses. The speed at which they make money is unbelievable. $1 million in hand the moment the car hit the ground. No, I need to think of another way to make more money and store more inventory. Once I go back to ancient times, I won't have another chance to go back and restock. But what are the other ways to make money? I racked my brain and suddenly it occurred to me. A wonderful idea. Our company manufactures mechanical tools and large equipment such as wind turbines and wind turbines. I remember that there was a group of wind turbine blades lying in the warehouse, a total of 90. The length of each blade was 120 meters, and it would take a heavy truck to transport only one. Moreover, if the road conditions were bad, the transportation costs would rise significantly. After the company finished production, it began contacting different shipping companies to transport goods, but 2 months passed, and no one dared to take the job. It was very annoying. The mountain roads were rough and prone to landslides. What had previously been a job with a salary of 20,000 yuan was now being offered 5,000 yuan, and no one was willing to do it. What others couldn't do, I could do. I have a portable storage unit, so these fan blades are no problem for me at all. Just stuff them and move them. Anywhere is easy and fun. A round trip on high-speed railway. The problem will be solved. Thinking about this, I immediately called the manager and that of the company. The phone rang 3 times before he answered, and his voice sounded tired and tired. "Hello, Shilly. What's up with you?" "I've come straight to this point." "Manager. How is the deal going with this batch of fan blades?" "They're still arguing. No one dares to take the goods." I laughed. "Don't be silly. I'll move those fan blades." I deliberately stopped, waiting for his reaction. Sure enough, there was sudden silence on the other end of the phone, followed by a noise. "What did you say, Shilly? Will you move with me? Those 90 fan blades are 120 meters long. Even shipping companies suffer from this kind of work. Do you think you are capable of handling it? Are you not a back-end programmer? Where did you get your transportation experience?" "Don't ask me how I did that. I have special channels that guarantee safe and much faster delivery." I interrupted him. Quickly, I couldn't talk about the mobile warehouse, so I had to ignore him. I just wanted to ask if the 50,000 yuan shipping fee for a single fan blade still applies. There was silence on the other end of the phone. I knew he was weighing his options. As a back-end programmer, I had absolutely nothing to do with logistics, but for the past 2 months, that batch of fan blades has been giving the company a headache. Big, since the headquarters was constantly pressing for payment, and every shipping company was demanding exorbitant prices. Now that you offered to take it, even if he hesitated, he must be tempted. The tone of the manager and you softened a little, but she still carried some concerns. Can you really handle it? As long as you can transport all the zero fan blades to the wind farm on the other side of the mountain within half a month. Each blade costs 5,000, so 90 blades will be 4.5 million. I have already approved the money from the headquarters, and not less than a penny. My heart skipped a beat. 4.5 million. Add that to the 2,900,000 we agreed on before. This is a total of 7,400,000, which is enough to buy all the supplies I need. But I did not agree right away. Instead, I kept asking how the transportation fee will be calculated. Manager, I need the money urgently. You must transfer the freight for the corresponding payment as soon as the goods arrive at the airport. Wind farm and traverse. The examination cannot be delayed. There was a moment of silence on the other end of the phone. Manager Wand looked a little hesitant. Sheely, it is not that I do not trust you, but this job is very special. You are not a professional in transportation. How about you hand over the 31, and if they pass the examination, I will pay you half in advance and the rest after handing them all over. I immediately shook my head in refusal, and my tone was firm. No, Manager Winter. I have an urgent matter that requires money, and I cannot bear the delay. Either I pay you the full amount upon delivery of the corresponding payment, or I will not accept this job. As you know, even though there are not many people taking this job at the moment, if we raise the shipping fee a little, I am sure someone will be willing to accept it. I just wanted to help you and collect some money for myself. I spoke very politely, and with a hidden meaning to put pressure on him. I must have heard Manager Wanya helplessly sighing on the other end of the phone. Okay. I really can't do anything with you. Deliver the goods to the wind farm and ask them to sign, and I will transfer the freight for those blades to your account on the same day without any delay until the next day. I shipped immediately. Please inform the warehouse and ask them to put the fan blades away so that I can load them directly on the truck when I go tomorrow. Also, please send me the contact information of the person at the destination so that I can unload the goods. No problem. I will call at the warehouse immediately, and I will send you my contact number via WeChat later. I said that I would go to load the truck tomorrow, but I had already made up my mind to start today and load all these fan blades into my portable storage unit. It was not long until I reached the company gate. The security guard saw that it was me, and they let me pass in the end. I am a programmer in the company and not a transport worker, but the guard knows me well and did not stop me.